Well, speaking of J-Lo and hustlers, now you also interviewed Kiki Palmer,
Yes.
and it was a great interview. And then all of a sudden, she
It
recognizes this voice.
She did. It was very weird because I'm sure, obviously, not I'm sure, I know, like you research people within an inch of their with their lives. And I had researched her big time because it was my first interview back from season 1 coming out of Fiji. So I think it was like 3 days after I had wrapped season 1 of Love Island. I was back at work, and I researched her. I didn't know anyone on her team. I didn't know her PR. I didn't know anybody. I had never met her. And I walked into the room, and she was like, "Oh my God, it's so good to see you." And I was like, okay. I was like, I've never, and I'm like gay Rain Man, like I will remember you for the rest of my life. Like there's just no way that I met you. And I sat down and I did my first line, and she literally, you can watch it online. She was like, "Oh my God, you are, Love Island." And it was the craziest thing for me because I had just got off a plane like within 72 hours. And and the show, what's kind of lovely about Love Island is it airs when you're in it. You're like in the eye of the tornado. So you don't go home and then like watch your work back and like, there's no billboards around after. It's just like it is happening in real time. So you do not, which is such a blessing, you do not have the luxury to be like, what did that review say? Or what are they saying online? You just genuinely do not have the time. So when I rapped, I just rapped and that was it. Not that you forget about it, but you don't think of yourself like who some may think of you as, you just,
Yeah.
and I walked in and it was just the craziest thing. And she was like, when you walked in, this is off camera, but she's like, when you walked in, I thought we were friends. Like you were so familiar to me. And she's like, because I watched you every night and I Googled you in the beginning. And then she's like, when you sat down, I was like, oh, like cool. Like, why isn't he being, whatever? And then the voice hit and it was like a whole thing. And then that was 3 days after season 1. And I was like, I have a thing here, like, what's going on? And I went to Starbucks after, it's like, tonight I will have a latte. And they were like, ma'am, if you can please just calm down, that'd be great. Yeah, it was a pretty crazy story.
Does that happen more now? Now, I mean, Love Island is becoming a thing, or I mean, excuse me, it's not becoming a thing. It's a huge thing. Let's rephrase that, David.
It's interesting. The pandemic obviously has kind of, not been, it's not like I'm going out or, anything like that. But it is very, it's a very funny thing because I never, up until the show, I never considered myself a voiceover talent. So like my voice wasn't my thing, and now it is. And you're like, oh, all the wasted time. Like I can be off camera eating donuts. Like this is phenomenal. So it always surprises me, and then I send a lot of voice notes to fans. Like if they write me, like they take the time to like really like write some stuff that I think is just lovely. Not that they're saying lovely things, but just like, wow, you like, I'm always genuinely touched that anybody, would reach out to me, let alone like be really thoughtful. So I'll send them back like a voice memo and they just lose it. And it is my favorite thing to do.